Alright, in this video I'm going to be looking at a game that I played from the 4CL against M.Thomas from quite a while ago now, when I was white. So e4 d6, d4 knight f6, this is Perk's defense. So immediately attacking my e4 pawn, so knight c3, defending it, c6. So this is a common plan for black, where he's going to play b5 and queen a5, putting pressure on this e4 pawn. So bishop e3, now queen b6. So this move tries to attack this b2 pawn early and make use of the fact that my bishop's now on e3, and obviously putting my bishop back on c1 would be a bit stupid. And it's quite hard to actually defend the pawn. So after any knight a4 move, then it's queen check, and it's c3, and knight takes on e4. Even if knight c3, knight can still take on e4. And then b3. He can just play queen to a5, where he's slightly improved here. He's already threatening to attack e4 and attacking the knight. And he's slightly improved here because normally you play queen a5 and then queen d2. Except now my pawn would be on b3, which wouldn't be so good. So stop this the pawn on b3 stops you from casting queen aside. It's a bit too weak. So here, and then obviously queen c1. Also isn't particularly useful either, as I want to cast queen side and the queen's blocking me. So I decided to play rook b1 here and change my plan to castling king side. It's going to go this way. And later on I thought, okay, this rook b1 move won't be so bad because I'm going to play b4 and a4, which will make up for the fact of playing rook b1. And obviously if he plays queen a5 now, I'll play b4 for tempo. So knight g4. So this is another common plan, just attacking. Black wants to trade off his knight for my bishop and create double pawns. I could try bishop g5, but after h6, bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, g7, attacking the d4 pawn. I think black's got a good position here because none of my pieces is really coordinated. Normally against this sort of setup, white wants to play an early h4 to undermine the black pawn structure. But here all my pieces are pretty useless. After e5, it's hard to see how I'm going to continue here. d5 just blocks in this bishop and makes it bad. And then takes, which looks fine for black. So instead I just let him take on e3. I just play bishop c4, developing another piece. As I figured, okay, he can take here, which he did. But now his knight's gone 1, 2, 3 squares just to take my bishop. And I've already got 2 pieces out here, so I tried to act on my quick development and strong centre. So e6, knight f3, bishop b7, castles, knight to d7, b4. So now you see the point of this rook move. d5, bishop back to d3. So this possibly aims towards the h7 square if black wants to castle kingside. Queen c7, e5, just close the position up, stopping black from playing e5 himself possibly. Now a5, so bypass pawn went b5, c5. Okay, in this position, black's going to be fine if he can play c4 here. He just puts my bishop on the rubbish square, and then his knight could maybe come to b6 and cause some problems on the queen side, or just block it up and castle queen side where I've got the attack. So here I saw that playing a5 and c5 is normally bad, especially if I can land a knight on b5. So I decided, as this would be an outpost, so I decided to just play b6, sacking the pawn, and after knight takes b6, knight to b5. The queen back to d8, which makes sense. It needs to watch out because there might be some discovered attack on the knight. Now play bishop to knight to g5. It's a good move here because take advantage of the fact that all my pieces are developed. My rook's on a very good firehorse, and black hasn't castled yet. And so after bishop takes g5, as what happened in the game, knight d6 check is a real problem. And then I'm already threatening this f7 square. And if castles, then knight or bishop takes h7, which is going to be simply very good for white. So here, my opponent took, so I play knight to d6 check, and then he sacrificed the queen here. Obviously, king e7 is probably definitely the worst move. Not knight takes, rook takes f7 is checkmate. If king to f8, then I could play the same. I could play knight takes f7, which is the same with king to d7. Knight takes f7. Because now you see all the pieces that are hanging: the queens, bishop, knight, rook. Was to discover an attack against the king, and black just simply losing his position. So my opponent decided to try to get a bit of material for the for his queen. Put knight back to d7, queen f3, castle h4. Obviously, let's go back a minute. If bishop takes e3, check first. Try to grab another pawn, doesn't quite work. So now king h1 with the threat of rook takes b6. Now have knight d7, then queen f3, attacks the bishop and f7. So that's why my opponent played knight back to d7 first. And now queen f3, defends the pawn, castles h4, bishop f6. If bishop takes h4, then queen to h5. That's the bishop and h7 mate. So bishop f6, c3, reinforcing the d4 square, c4, bishop back to c2. c4 is a pretty bad move, I think, because it just releases the tension on the d4 square. This is normally never really a good idea for black. So now I can prepare e4, as happened in the game. Okay, 6, e4. Now the pawn can't be taken because of e5, and after e5 himself, so d takes e4, queen takes e4. And I'm aiming towards the h7 square. So e5, trying to complicate things a bit. So it's took, he took, I took, rook takes, queen e4, so threatening checkmate on h7, g6, rook b5, bishop g7, queen f4. So the rest is just pretty easy here. He's only got a bishop and a knight for the queen. He's got a pawn as well, but doesn't really do anything. Rook f6, queen e3, so just exchange material, which is probably not a good idea. And we see the power, there's a passed pawn, takes, bishop e6, d5, bishop back to d7, queen to b6, rook to e8, bishop to a4, swapping off all the material, stopping the c3 pawn, so just picking everything off, and rook c8, knight e4, check, king e2, knight d6, rook takes f8 check, king takes, bishop takes f8, and now queen b8, and my opponent resigned her, since he can't stop me getting another queen, and even playing c2, I can just get queen anyway. He can have a queen if he wants. Let's take, and check, mate. So, I thought it was quite an interesting game, nevertheless. It's a nice little combination here after a5. After c5 here, b6, and after takes, knight b5, queen to d8, now knight g5, which these moves are quite hard to see because you don't really tend to look at moves like this when they're completely undefended. When you can think, oh, there's a queen and bishop that could easily take the knight on g5. But yeah, the power of this move is completely lost for black. So, you know, he has to take knight d6 check, and as in the game he gave up his queen, so all the king moves just lose to something takes on f7. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, goodbye.